Welcome, everybody, to the Two versus Brother podcast, brought to you by Chase Bank and AT&T, proudly sponsors of this league. And with me here, the no-name team, I have the Executioner, right? Or Gladiators, better known as the Exterminator, Pedro.
Terminator.
How are you?
Doing well. It's a long day of work. Now I'm here, ready to get it on.
Okay, perfect. Well, the format that we're doing it here today is we're gonna go with a couple of topics with the league. And for sure, Pedro, I know you have a lot to say. Your season is basically done, but does not mean that you are not gonna be analyzing with what things are going on with our league. We're basically entering the stretch run, and we're gonna be going through great moments here. The playoffs are incoming. So let's start with the first topic. So we all have an idea. So this past weekend, we had four teams that were buying for a bye week. We had Franklin, we had Steven, we had Danny, and we had KMA. So at the moment, as we saw, Steven got a close victory over Gladiators by 1.5 points. And Franklin, as of right now at 8:30 p.m. Monday night, is well on his way to a victory over bye week. And then the game of the week that the majority of us can say, Danny over KMA, two people that were vying for that bye week, and Danny was able to pull out that victory easily with KMA. So now the question is, KMA is mostly out of the running for the bye week, and we only have three people. But the question is, Pedro, who do you see the favorite to win it all? Franklin, Steven, or Danny?
Well, after some deliberation on my end, I had to do the numbers because it can't be. I can't just blurt something out because I want it to be, even though I want Franklin to win because he's the NWO member. He's right now the leader of the organization. I can't just say he's going to win, even though that's where my heart is right now. Let's put this to numbers. Right now, as I did the math, Franklin is actually the one who, on average, for the past 4 weeks, not including this week, has come up with the most points. Right now, Franklin has 481.10 in total points and an average of 120 points that he scores the last 4 weeks. Very, very important week leading up to the playoffs. Um, I We're gonna speak on it, the JT thing, but it seems to me like at the moment he looks like to be a shoe in to get the bye week and two to take it home. But I can't just say that straight up because there's another guy that has had made some trades, made some things happen, and pretty much brought his team up from out of nowhere. El Papi CMC. And another guy that's doing very well, 442.92, which is the last 4 weeks that he has scored, 110.73 points. That's his average.
Wow.
Yeah, so he's doing really well. But like I'm saying, those extra 10 points is what's going to make the difference. And right now, JT's not playing. So where are the points to make up what JT was doing going to come from? It can't just come out of nowhere. And Gus the Bus hasn't really been doing much last week and the week before. It hasn't really been adding up. But the acquisition of Amon-Ra St. Brown for El Papi CMC seems to be the linchpin that makes the rest of this team work. I see it as a tie, as the one as somebody that could take it all. It has to be a tie between those two. If for some reason meet at the finals, it will be incredible. But I think if I'm going to put my heart of hearts, I'm sorry, Franklin, but it looks to me like El Papi CMC is going to take it because of that that thing with JT. The JT was what put you over the top. Right now, we're still waiting for what's going to happen with Jettas. And depending on what happens with Jettas, that's what's really going to make it seem like Danny's unstoppable.
But let me ask you, Pedro, because and I'm gonna give my answer as well. Between these three teams that are one joint, I mean, basically, I think Franklin and Danny they're going on a collision course to the finals with also KMA. But
Mm-hmm.
since KMA lost, don't sleep on KMA. He lost to Danny, but he didn't have Josh Allen. So we can basically say an asterisk on that victory by Danny. But if KMA has his full squad, might be a different story. But since this topic is about three people, basically, obviously Steven, he's not even part of it. Like we say, he's just in the middle of two people, cock blocking those two people that are going the favorites, in which is Danny and Franklin.
Yeah.
And here's the thing: my question is, who winter is here, and this is a thing that Danny been saying. Winter is coming. Right now, Danny looks like a great team. He has Jetta coming back, but there's several questions. First of all, how will Jetta respond with the new quarterback and coming healthy? That's going to be the biggest question. If Jetta comes back to what we know, then Danny will be unstoppable. But if if it's part of it, then that opens up the conversation. Second,
Mm.
and what I've been saying all year, the pressure of Danny to win it all is going to grow and grow because he knows that if he doesn't win, he's going to come up short on it. It's going to be the biggest choke job that we have had in this league. So he has to win it, Danny. If he doesn't, he's going to lose. So that pressure might build and he might make some bad decisions because when you're not thinking clearly, you might make some bad decision with a defense, maybe a wrong kicker. And even though he might think that that's not important, kicker and defense will be the difference. So
Correct.
for me, I would say Franklin has the biggest question with JT. However, he has the more well-rounded team, and with my thought, he's going to win it all because it just take one bad week to lose it all. And I think Franklin can withstand that bad week.
Yeah, I agree. He can, but the thing is, look, KMA is a wild card in this because he could. We've seen him score consistently 120, 100, 130. You've seen him; he scores points. It's not an issue of him scoring points. It's just is it going to happen at the same time? Um, but the
No, the only
issue,
thing KMA has to go now because if he had the bye week, I would put KMA
yeah,
over Franklin and over Danny.
mm-hmm.
But since Danny lucked out and didn't face KMA with Josh Allen, now KMA has to go through the rough patch. And yes, last year he won the title coming from the sixth seed, but it's
Mm-hmm.
very difficult to go in this league this year. 3 straight victories to the championship. I think the ones that have the bye week have a big advantage.
No, you're right. Because they don't have to deal with basically the explosion that's going to happen in the wild card, basically. And you can't in this league. From what I've seen, is very competitive. I haven't seen too many win streaks going on, except the one from Franklin. And that's like incredible. I haven't seen a win streak like that in this league, and I've been on this league since I think it's 2012. Um, Especially when it's this competitive and all the injuries that have happened in the league, it's incredible. But at the end of the day, the trades that El Papi CMC Danny has done, it's like is a masterful stroke. I can't like yeah, he's in the other group that we hate, but I have to give it to him. The man has done what he had to do. He has used that used car salesman lingo, and he's gotten what he needed. He got Jettas. He got Amon-Ra St. Brown, which to me is even better than having Jettas, because you know that Amon-Ra St. Brown is always going to give you about 15 to 20 points, easy, every single week. And
Okay.
for a long time in the past, you didn't know where Danny was going to come in at, but right now, I can guarantee you that Danny's going to put up 120 points each week from now on. You
Okay.
cannot beat Danny with less than 120.
Okay, we'll see. I mean, I know you're gonna pick Danny. I'm picking Franklin. I think that we'll see the playoffs are coming in. So let's go into our next topic now that we have the top ones. Now, how about the other teams that are rounding out? So basically, this last week that's coming up is coming down to four teams
Mm-hmm.
and two more positions, the fifth and the sixth seed. We
Yes.
have No Name Team, Mr. Deeds, Los Coquis, and the biggest surprise of all, Alex, fighting for those two final spots. So if the standings or the results held into what we have as of right now, we're going to start, or we're going to end this week with No Name Team number 5, Deeds number 6, Coquis number 7, and Alex number 8. Alex will face the Cookies on week 14. If Deeds will face off Franklin, and then I'm facing KMA. So Pedro,
Mm.
based on what you know the points that we have, you know the whole tiebreakers. Who do you think will take the final two spots?
Well, I'm going to start with the people that I think are not going to be able to make it, and it's a real shame that I have to start here. But Los Coquis, I don't think is going to make it.
So you think Alex is going to beat Los Cookies?
Correct. It's just that Alex has his team has blossomed at the right time. Let's be real here. He has his team, just to put it in perspective. Pacheco right now is playing really well. You know, he has a decent tight end, McBride. Moss has decent matchups coming up. I know he didn't do well this last week, but if anybody should know not to count out Moss, is me. Pittman is playing pretty much out of his mind. It's incredible what Pittman has done these last few weeks. And Eckler has juicy matchups coming up. His matchups coming up are like incredible, but who is going to show up? Which Eckler are we going to really see? Because it's kind of like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. You never know the guy that's going to show up. Is it going to be the guy that's going to be putting up 20 plus points, or is it going to be the guy that is lucky to get 7? You know?
Well, he faced Denver. So Denver, they've been playing better lately, but
Mhm.
his run defense, they're still struggling.
Yeah, they're still struggling. That's the problem. But it's really hard to say. But I think that ARP edges him out because it's just, for instance, Loco Keys. Just to put it simply, that trade with Danny, it didn't go well for him. Jahmyr Gibbs hasn't been playing very well. He's really pretty much splitting his carries just about evenly with Montgomery since he's come back. Kelsey he's playing well, especially for a tight end. 10 to 12 points is really good for a tight end, but he's not a world beater like he was before. I don't.
Hey, and he was a first round draft pick,
He was a
so
first round
he's
draft
expected, to be close to 15, 18-point range consistently, and he's been below
consistently,
that.
and he hasn't really done that this year, except like some spurts here and there. His age is really starting to show. And another thing, Los Coquis, he has Murray out for week 14. He's not playing, and Stafford is the one that's playing. And Stafford faces the Ravens, which Ravens I think is top 5 against quarterbacks. So the matchups are not with him right now. Devonta Smith, another one. He's been playing really well, but he goes up against Dallas. Same thing with another guy of his. I think it was Swift. Swift has to go against Dallas as well. You know,
Yep.
and the last time they played against Dallas, it didn't do so hot. So let's see what happens. You know.
So you're projecting Alex. So process of elimination. So we're eliminating the cookies because
Mm-hmm.
Alex is beating him. So now, what do you think with Deeds and No Name Team?
Well, right now, Deeds. The thing with Deeds, look, I didn't do so much research on Deeds, but to be honest, it doesn't look like he's gonna make it. Not because he's like he has a bad team. He doesn't. It's just that for some reason the no name team has come back from all this adversity, and it's more like a storyline thing. To be honest, he's come back from all this adversity. He's every week he does just enough to beat the guy that's across from him. It's it's hard to it's hard to go against that narrative right now, especially when we're at this point in the season. You know, things, especially now, he's winning. Like if last I checked, for this game, he's winning against his opponent. So
Yeah.
if everything goes his way, if the pigeons are flying, he's going to be in the playoffs. I just don't know what's going to happen once he's in because a lot of these
Well,
teams. Go
just
ahead.
to give you with the scenarios. So if for No Name Team to make the playoffs, he has to either beat KMA, in which that's already a tough task. You know,
Mm-hmm.
KMA can easily beat No Name Team, but you know what? That No Name Team has had the pigeons. Maybe the pigeons will be flying. I know that he's gonna go full force on it, but he also can get in if Deeds loses to Franklin,
Mm-hmm.
or as long that he stays and have more points of the winner of Alex and Los Coquis.
Mm-hmm.
If any of those three scenarios, the no name team is in.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is that one of those scenarios are going to happen.
Correct. I don't see him beating KMA unless, of course, the pitches are flying. And that's the only reason I would see him beating KMA. But as for the other scenarios, it's very possible that Franklin beats him. Let's be real. Franklin has been putting up 120 plus points every week. It's very hard for me to go back and just pretty much sit and say, oh, this could happen, especially since Deeds hasn't been putting up the kind of points that everybody else has been putting up. Um, it's very likely that Franklin will beat him. So if that happens, then that's the most, in my opinion, that's the most likely scenario that Franklin beats him. So and that's why no name team makes it in.
So basically, we're going to say that the last two teams will be no name team and will be Alex.
Correct. ARP.
So probably because of the points, um, the no name team will be fifth,
5. Mm-hmm.
and then ARP. So then you're projecting first round matchups. If K May wins, then
Mm-hmm.
he'll be third because he's
Mm-hmm.
going to be above the loser of Danny and Steven.
Mm-hmm.
So K May will face ARP, rematch of the first round, and then the loser of Danny and Steven will face the no name team. Is that what you're projecting for the playoffs?
Yes, sir.
First round?
That's what it looks like to me.
Well, I mean, I couldn't go far away from you from what you said. I think that these two playoff spots, is going to be very intense. I do agree, and it's hard. This debate show, we're supposed to, but at moments we have to agree. I think Alex will take care of business and he will defeat um, Los Coquis. I think Alex is peaking right at the perfect time. He has the matchups that are in his favor. I think Eckler will bounce back, and that's been his balance. He's been winning without Eckler. If
Yeah.
you've been noticing the last couple of weeks, Eckler had, and I'll tell you exactly what he has. He had week 11, 6 points, week 12, 6.90, week 13, 3.70. So, in other words, he is winning without Eckler. So he is due for a breakout.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to be seeing something huge with that. And I think that's what's going to catapult for ARP to have the victory over Los Coquis and create the miracles of all miracles to be on his way for the playoff.
Yeah.
I think Franklin will take care of business with Mr. Deeds. Franklin is too strong of a team, and I think he's going to take care. And based on that result, automatically, the no name team and KMA won't matter because
Mhm.
Franklin will basically eliminate Deeds, and that will automatically the no name. Based on the standings at the end, the last two teams, I still say it's going to be no name in ARP. With the points, I think I'm going to go a little bit different. I think Alex is going to jump the no name team. He's going to be fifth, and the no name team will be sixth. And the first round of the playoffs will be KMA versus a no name team, rematch of the semifinals, and then the loser of Danny and Steven, which most likely will be Steven,
Mhm.
will face off ARP. So I think the playoff, no matter if it's with your scenario or my scenario, is going to be electric.
Yeah, I agree.
So it's going to be a heck of a playoff. Now, let's move on to our last question. And this is going to be the biggest question. And I know you already talked about it. And we're going to talk about the number one team in this league, in which is Franklin, who is riding this winning streak that in this competitive league is very rare to see. And right now, Franklin is the biggest question mark is Jonathan Taylor. When is he coming back? So the question to you is how big is JT's injury to Franklin's team? And this is our last topic of the day. How big is this injury? Will this affect the playoff?
Yeah, big time. Look, I already went over before the averages that he has been putting up these last 4 weeks, and Alfredo, I don't know what to tell you, man, because he has a and I looked at it. JT has accounted for a good portion of those points. So can we really expect Gus the Bus to take him? Give him the 20 points that he needs. Can we? Where is those points going to come from? I know the rest of this team is pretty much set. He doesn't have question marks anywhere except there.
Well, let's look at his team. Let's look at his team. For example, Justin Herbert.
Yeah,
He's been a top five quarterback fantasy all year long. AJ Brown, he's been elite. Brendan Ayuk, which is his biggest question mark.
yeah,
B. John Robinson, that's another question mark. Travis Etienne, stud.
stud.
Laporta, stud. His kicker and obviously his Dallas defense. They're always going to be so his flex. I guess will be the biggest question mark. I guess he's going to be having it between DeAndre Hopkins and maybe Gus the Bus and then JT. So you're saying that this will impact the playoffs?
Yes, it's going to impact the playoffs in a big way because look now, Danny's putting up points, man. He's not gonna. He does if you don't put up 120 with Danny, especially with the situation with the Amara St. Brown acquisition and the Jettas, whenever it is he decides to come back, and if he comes back at full strength, I don't see a way that 120, 105, 110, 115 points is going to do it because look at Danny's team, man. It's just how can you assemble such a squad at this point of the year, just to push back on your point about Brandon Ayuk being a little bit of a question mark. It hasn't been the case the last few weeks. Last few when was it that he picked him up in the draft?
Yeah, but here's the thing: Brandon Ayuk, he
Mm-hmm.
is basically his boom or bust because
Yeah,
he can explode, but he has given him, and I've been a beneficiary of a matchup that San Francisco did not give the ball to Ayuk, and there could be matchups Debo has been playing excellent the last couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So, Brandon Ayuk, I think, is a huge question mark. Um, I think as long that Ayuk remains more of a boom, and no matter who he puts in his flex, I think that his team is too strong. DeAndre Hopkins, if we're projecting, let's say, the semifinals and the finals, even if JT doesn't come back, he's playing against Seattle defense.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be the 14th ranked defense, and then against Houston defense. So they're not excellent matchup, but they're not bad either.
Right.
So if he can get him double digits, I think the key is as long that he gives them double digits, he should be fine. He should maintain his running backs. With Etienne and Bijan, if they continue doing it, I think he'll be fine. But watch out. Keep an eye on San Laporta. Detroit is trying to give him that rookie yardage touchdown. So you know what that means, or yardage and touchdowns for a rookie. So
Mm-hmm.
what they're trying to do, they're gonna feed him the ball. They're gonna take it from Amon St. Brown and they're gonna give it to San Laporta. So I'm for that might meet the difference of this season. And Franklin, even losing JT, I think this injury will not affect them. I think he'll be able to. It won't be as easy,
Mm-hmm.
but I think he can pull it through.
Look, I'm gonna give one more thing for El Papi CMC that maybe you haven't really taken into account, but El Papi CMC has the first waiver selection. So anybody goes down, anything happens that somebody blows up and somebody starts looking like a stud. That's it. He picked him up. I don't know who's gonna drop, but he has that first selection.
Yeah,
That's
but
huge going to the playoffs.
this is already deep in the playoffs. I don't think he's gonna make any changes to his starting lineup. This is gonna be his starting lineup.
Mm-hmm.
Poppy's CMC team is already gonna be set, knowing Danny. He's gonna have Dak. He's gonna
Mm-hmm.
have St. Brown. He's gonna have Jetta, McCaffrey, Kyron, Ferguson. His question might be flex, but it could be Ridley. It could be even Rice,
Yeah.
and then his kicker and his defense. So, and remember, Aaron Jones is coming back. So I don't think that waiver will make a huge difference. The only thing that he could do is use that waiver to take away from maybe Franklin picking up an essential piece or
Mm-hmm.
somebody else for his advantage. As a snake that he is, I wouldn't be
Mm-hmm.
surprised that he will use that waiver to steal it and take it from somebody.
Yeah, I've seen him do it with tight ends.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, these are our three topics for today. This fantasy football gurus league is a state of the art. We're basically getting to the end. Tonight is Monday night, so we're a couple of the matchups still haven't been officially decided, but we're basically good to go. The next couple of days, we're gonna continue. We'll be previewing week 14. Okay.
Alrighty.
All right. Have a great evening, Pedro, and we'll see you guys in the next week.
Alrighty, guys.